advertised on the radio. I did mention the end of May event, which will be our first wine tasting, how that goes with attendance. The other thing, way I looked at it is when I used to do these for West Side Liquor, we used to charge a $15 fee, and that fee would be to help pay for the wine. It was just a class fee for the class. I am gonna repurpose that fee and be slightly different here, because I think it'd be better for the store and for the city, is to sell a $15 gift card. So they're buying a gift card to attend it. Most of the wine we're gonna be pouring, we get reimbursed from the vendor anyway, so to charge for something, the meat and cheese and other things we might cut out for that small event is gonna be such a small portion of what it is. I think we'll gain more by somebody having a $15 gift card and buying $20 or $30 worth of stuff to use that gift. So I'm gonna try that on the first one. If that goes well, that's how I'll do it for the 2 bourbon tastings and the other 2 wine tastings that will take place before the end of September. And as those show up in that month, I'll make more radio, otherwise I'll give you guys your time back and thank you.
Thank you for the initiative. That is fabulous. Lots of hard work you've put into it out there. Thank you.
Ryan,
Are you advertised for the special events?
the special events, we will be advertising on our radio time, which we're swapping for their bid time right now. Essentially, we give gift certificates for the radio time that they sell. So that'll pay for, it has been paid for most of our radio time unless we bump something up and need to do it. Then we'll use social media, our sign, and then try to have people do word of mouth too. So as of right now.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
All right, Julie, can I add one thing, just to clarify, his statement about getting the bids, we do need to get 2 quotes. And I didn't tell Troy this, but I looked at the regulation, there's an updated one, and so it's 175,000 and less, so he has to get 2 quotes, he doesn't have to do a bidding.
So open it up for bidding.
But he would still need to get 2
Thank you.
prices, so
So yeah.
it's a little bit different.
As soon as I can get a second bid on that, and then I also do want to follow up with Riley Construction on the idea of if we have to put the sidewalk system back in. If we don't have to do that, I know that'll be a big savings with the time and labor that goes and the cost of concrete. So,
All right, thank you.
thank you.
I don't believe Darren's here.
I do have an update, on, other than what's in the packet, I just wanna say one thing, we are doing, meter replacements, so those heads that read the meters, we started that just this last week. And so we had purchased 150 of those nodes that send the reading to us. And we have 150 of them, we completed 60 of them already, so when he runs out, he'd like to purchase more. And last time the council authorized for the city to pay for it rather than billing, so I'd like to just have the council discuss that, and if you wanna continue doing that when he has to purchase his next supply of meters.
So did we order enough to take care of all of them that needed it
No.
this first round?
No, I talked
Okay.
to Darren, he's got 150, and he figures he'll need at least 150 more, I believe is what he told me.
Yeah.
Okay,
So,
I'd be fine with him just ordering them when they need them.
me
It'd be
too.
about 25,000 to do that.
And come out of the water fund, right?
Yeah.
I'll make a motion to allow them to purchase the meters, more of the meters if they need them, or when they need them.
I will second that.
Motion has been made and seconded to allow, Darren to order the new meter nodes as he needs them. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion has been made and carries. And Pete Darren is also looking, to purchase a street sweeper.
I'm not gonna lie, after reading this, I didn't even realize ours was that old.
Yeah,
I would have never guessed that.
yeah, he said he's really having problems finding parts. He did find one that he could buy for 150,000. Do we need to look at, see if we need to, do we need to try to find another one? According to what the,
According to this, there is a stipulation where you, even in used equipment, you're supposed to get 2 quotes on anything unless it's a state bid. However, I did ask Darren about it and he was not finding anything comparable. So
I
with
know.
used equipment, sometimes it's hard. So there is a kind of an exception thing there, which I feel like this might fall under that. Otherwise, you're going to something new that is a lot more
Yeah.
expensive for us to purchase. So I think this could be one of those exceptions where you try and look around and find something, it's just not that much out there.
Yeah, I know, he said he was looking around, he couldn't find anything even comparable.
Yes.
And I feel like this is more the time to buy versus when they're really not gonna be used, kind of thing.
And in the information there, the price on selling something like this wasn't very much too, it was like $1,200 the bids were at, or $1,500,
Yeah.
so it's really not worth anything to recoup either when we get to that point.
I will make a motion to approve Darren for purchasing a new street sweeper from McQueen Equipment for the $150,000.
I will second.
Motion has been made and seconded to approve purchase of a street sweeper from McQueen Equipment for $150,000. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries.
And then we need to talk about this part-time.
Yes.
Yes, sorry about that, I missed.
No, you're fine. I think he did a great job last year, so I would be absolutely fine hiring this, and am I gonna say pronoun is Dan Feidler? Is that
Fiddler.
correct? Fiddler, thank you.
Mhm.
Back for summer lawn mowing and increase his wage by $1. And it looks like you guys have worked with the budget pretty well, so I think looks good.
Well, right now, 59, and that was part of my discussion on the lifeguard thing was,
Yeah.
you know, if we move some hours there, there's maybe some room in the budget to use for some of that. That might be discussion what the council wants to see. Usually we were from 11 to 7, so we could shorten some of that time, or maybe Monday, Tuesday, Wednesdays, and kind of shift some of that money over to help with this if we want to have somebody to do the lawn mowing for the summer.
Did we take any reports last year about use of the beach? We did that 2 years ago.
We did,
Did that happen
we
recently?
actually were kind of sporadic last year, we had 3 lifeguards, so there's some times and some weekends nobody was there, and we didn't get started till probably the 8th of June. But they were supposed to be there from 11 to 7. So, June was not as busy, July, of course, is busy, and beginning of August, and it kind of dies off.
Do you want us to discuss this hiring part when we come up to the beach?
I think it would be good to talk about it all at one time.
Okay. That sounds beautiful.
Eagle Construction for the next phase of the project. The amount of $145,900.43.
To pay the bill, $149,943.
Motion is made and seconded to approve Eagle Construction bill in the amount of $145,900.43. All in favor say aye. Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. There are no updates on the wastewater project. Chad and I spoke this morning, about administrative citations. Steve and him, from Sourcewell did do a drive around. They did send out 6 letters. He has had 2 responses, from results of those letters. and he will keep following up on that. Steve was, very happy with what he was seeing in the city, thus far, so Chad and him will keep after the 6 that they, cited.
Wonderful.
Beautification team, Amber?
No.
Okay, so just to keep you guys updated, we have our community day with the school on May 12th. Rain day will be May 13th. We learned how to do that 2 years ago. We're only gonna take the seniors this year because 100 and some kids gets to be a lot. And we've done this, I think this is our 4th year now, so there's not quite as many things that we have to fix up. So that's nice.
What kind of things do you do? I mean, will you do things for business?
In town, anything that the kids can like
I have a
want
question.
to. Yeah,
Have you noticed the, where the bank sign is there by the community center? Does the community center own that sign?
the bank does.
The bank does?
Al Newman went in and talked to the bank today, or
Oh.
this week,
Okay, cause
what day
yeah,
is today, Monday, last week.
I don't know if somebody hit it, but it's really, really bad on that one side.
Yes, Al went in and let them know, and so I'm not sure what the plan was with that, but they are aware that needs to be fixed.
Okay,
We're gonna take our pots out of it, cause I don't know what they're gonna have to do with it, we're gonna take our big pots out of it, so that they can do whatever they need to do in there, and then maybe put them back when it's done or whatever. So, but yeah, we're, anywhere that we can walk in town that's a business. Last year we helped a couple elderly people with picking up sticks or things like that. We're happy to do that stuff in town. Just if we can't really bust the kids out
great.
of the city limits, but
So if there's any seniors that are listening to our live stream that would need help getting things out for cleanup day,
yep,
They
as long as I would have to ask Mr. Hopworth if they can go into the house.
okay,
That I'm not positive about that, but as far as like things in the yard, we should be able to do that as long as we can walk there.
I know Scout Wives went out, so I think it would also be a good favor to stick with, yes, if you can get it out to your porch, we can take it off your porch for you.
Yep.
But
Yeah. So, yeah, and we went up to the golf course in the past, we went up to the galleon in the past, we've helped a couple, because they need big groups of people to go up and help, but we do that.
that is awesome.
Yes. And then, we're having our beach party, this year we're changing it to the 22nd, which is after the parade. So I have to fill out a special event, I was gonna try to get that done before this meeting, and I did not get it done.
that's May
It'll
22nd?
be June
June
22nd, yeah, so it'll be the weekend of Osaka Days weekend, and then right after the parade. So, well, I'll get that from them. And then we're also, the chamber's gonna be doing a ribbon cutting for the pier at that same time, so. And then the park equipment that we ordered for down there at the beach, we're expecting that to be here the end of April, beginning of May, so that's aware of all that. And then I had talked to Darren about putting the pier in, and they were gonna do it on a day that the weather is nice and it's good for them. So we're not gonna worry about, I just asked if it was out before Memorial Day. So,
Yeah.
that's all I have. Do you guys have any questions for me?
Can I pick your brain, because I know it is on here, but it's a little bit farther, is the sign going out to the interstate. And I know you've kind of been talked to about different things out there. What does that entail to fix that huge pole? Like, do we have to put a new pole in? Do we just?
Well, and actually I did look, I went out there again to make sure, because I have pictures, I had taken pictures, but I just took of the one side and it is both poles. The one pole is like leaning in towards the
Yeah.
sign and the other one is like this. So I was told that Brian was gonna go out and look at it to see
Okay.
if, because they don't look like they're like, I don't know if underneath they're rotten, they certainly don't look rotten above ground, so I don't know if we're gonna need new poles or just straighten the poles.
Okay,
I'm
We
not
probably
sure.
just straighten them, but we don't know. They were a little nervous because you see your foot up there, so maybe it's a little more than what we're thinking,
Mhm.
but we wanted the frost to get out of the ground before we.
yes, yes.
And then the rocks are starting to fall off and found this thing too, and I was like, I'm trying to glue them around once and it didn't last very long.
He
So-
trying to do something with it. We're kind of for the weather to change.
And I know that they've talked multiple times with you about it as well, so I figured while you were up here, I figured I'd just pick your brain, but yeah, as I drive by, I'm like, which one's tilted?
Well, it's both. I lied last time.
Well, thank you guys, both of you guys for staying on top of that, that is wonderful, that is being taken care of, thank you so much, Amber.
Okay, Park Committee. At their last meeting, Jason, from the Anchor brought us in some samples of new banners. So he had a choice of 4. And the Parks Committee picked out 2 of the ones that they preferred, which ended up being these 2. So all colors were in, kind of in tune with what the water tower is. But they were leaning towards these 2, and we must prove this, which design we want them to go with.
Is that something, do you want a full council for?
Can't, or
Okay.
I shouldn't say it that
Just
way.
timelines.
We would prefer not to do it that way. Jason said he could have them done within a week of ordering. So let's figure 2.
Okay,
But the graduation signs are gonna start coming down now in May.
Yeah.
And we wanna have these on hand to take down those and put these up.
perfect,
Now, I was at the parks meeting, so this, the one with the lake is the design that they were leaning towards.
okay.
But they did not mind this one either.
I don't mind this one, I think it looks nice, the walleye country kind of throws me for a loop.
Yeah, I didn't,
Personally, I'd rather just see it be blue than necessarily walleye country. The only thing with this one is it seemed to be too much. I mean, if it be welcome to home of the Silver Streaks, I could understand that, kind of how we have billboards of that. But could it just be like, take those out?
Yeah.
Just,
and that's my thinking too. I didn't like this.
I felt like it was just a little too
Yeah.
much.
And then they would,
Or is it welcome to beautiful Lake Osakis? Or just welcome to Lake Osakis? I just didn't like the home of part, that was the one thing I didn't like.
here's the other thing about this one with the lake on it. I like it, but how many people are gonna actually see the lake driving through?
I didn't know there was a lake, I thought it was a shadow from the inside.
Oh, honestly,
No.
so did I.
No, but that's the lake.
Now I see it. Driving down the road,
Yeah, no, and I like, cause yes, it has the water tower swooshes,
Yep.
and that's honestly what I picked out right away.
How about we just take all that country out here?
Yep.
I like that,
I
definitely.
was gonna say, I think this one is more prominent as far as a
I
little
really
bit
don't know
about
what
us.
that, is that a really a walleye?
Maybe,
Yeah, but
Who
far
knows?
away it might look like.
Who knows?
I mean, I like the rest of this.
Yes, the
And then
rest of it I
just-
definitely did,
And then just take a walleye country.
yes.
Okay,
Or call them something better.
And then, yeah, if they did this one, I don't think you would necessarily need the back and just welcome to Lake Osakis. If you do that one, if you do, or if you keep them all the same.
and see the thing here too. What? They're coming to Osakis, are they coming to Lake Osakis? No.
Agreed.
Yeah.
That's why I went the other way. Short and sweet.
So we wanna go with the fifth one?
That's what it's known for. Just don't know that it's all walleye.
You know, the other is, so even on our bike racks that we have downtown, one is a walleye, one is a grebe. If they wanna do like a grebe running across and just welcome to Osakis and have a grebe running across.
We decided we didn't wanna grieve.
No, there really aren't that many out there anymore. I'm really surprised.
And when we decided on them, that was on the church, yeah.
Down here too, unless, on the lake one, unless he can make the lake a little bit more prominent. You know, match it more to the color of,
Or do you get rid of all of this and just have Lake Osakis and then have the lake in the body up there?
Yeah, yeah, right. I think it looks like this, but it's also the big plus, yeah.
And then just take the actual picture, like you said, make it darker,
yep,
and then put the picture
Yep.
more in the body.
okay,
See how that actually looks, or if people are like, it's.
well, I think if you made it a little bit darker, it'd be more,
And they are so awesome at decorating things,
Yes.
so. Perfect.
okay, then we will go with welcome to Lake Osakis, take our home of. And
Oh, so the only question I had was, how long do these last?
7 to 8 years,
So we could put them up this year and keep reusing
Yes.
them. That
yes.
would be very nice, perfect.
Yes. Yeah,
That would be a
that
nice
was one of
investment.
that was one of the things that we were looking at as far as sustainability. How long they would last us and the,
So question for you then is, so right now we have all the seniors are pretty much up all over town. Do we do these banners all over town as well, or do we do half of them and then order another one next year? And fill in the rest?
or the reverse, you wanna go half this and half this.
Yeah. So many options. Okay, we'll start with this.
So, yeah, this was not a budgeted item, so we will have to, look at requesting funds for the banners. Although he is giving us a pretty good deal on the banners with a life of 8 years. So, but let's start with approving which one we want.
Are we approving one or are we approving both with the changes?
Well, you know, it might be cool to have 2 different ones.
Okay, well, I will make a motion to approve.
What do you think?
the- And then we can always pick what we want to order the most of.
Or go half and half, it's
Yep.
26.
Alternate or something.
The only thing I failed to ask Jason is if we did that, would it cost more?
Well, cause he's gotta set up a place.
Yeah.
For this set up fee.
Well, do we start with this one? And see how, because I think that one we kind of like the best. I will be honest, this W kind of throws me for a loop in the back. I feel like it's the wrong.
Like the shading would just be, I don't think that's meant.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Nobody's gonna see that drawing by either.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's something it's quick to see.
I think this one will pop out a lot more than
I do too.
having a picture of the lake.
Okay,
Alright, so I will make a motion to approve the banner that says welcome to Osakis with eliminating the walleye country in the bottom portion. And it has a picture of a fisherman catching a walleye.
Fish. Just say fish.
Well, fish.
fish. And I will second.
I'll second.
All in favor, or motion is made and seconded to approve the welcome to Osaka sign, eliminating walleye country. Picture of boat with the guy catching a fish. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries.
I will make a motion to approve the minutes from the March 25th Parks and Rec meeting.
I'll second that.
Motion's been made and seconded to approve the minutes from the March 25th, 2025 Parks meeting. All in favor say aye. Opposed, same sign. Motion carries.
I will also make a motion to approve the WSB design invoice for $10,972.25. and the grant writing application invoice for $1,191.
Motion is made and seconded to approve WSB Design invoice $10,972.25 and grant writing application invoice of $1,191. All in favor say aye. Opposed, same sign. Motion carries.
Would you like me to request funds for the banners, or would you like to handle that?
Sure.
We'll put that on our wish list and we'll go to the gambling meeting.
That's what I was just thinking on that.
I can make a request and see if
Yeah, some of them
I
don't.
can help out.
Some of us they ask, so.
Yeah.
Next, we are looking at the police union LELS contract for 25-26. Have you all had a chance to review that? And is there any discussion?
I feel like it pretty much follows suit with the contracts that were approved at the end of 2024.
That's what we're.
Pretty much mirroring everything that we did then, or that was done then.
Which, for my opinion, I think that is definitely something that we have to do, is follow suit. If everyone else was granted those accommodations, I feel like it is only fair. Is it something that the three of us can pass this, or do we need a full council?
No, we can pass this with a majority, correct?
Perfect, I will make a motion to approve the police union LELS contract presented as is.
I will second.
Motion has been made and seconded to approve the LELS union contract for 25-26. All in favor say aye. Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. And now we will have open floor. Anybody has anything they would like for us to consider?
I have something, Judy, just because I missed it before. With the televising that we're looking to do for all these lateral lines, we discussed it with our NI thing. We did get a price of $250 per lateral line. And that Darren did say that normally we go through about a fourth of town each year and they televise the mains. So we've done that for about 5 years now, so he has a pretty good picture of where the mains are at, and so they would forfeit doing that to help pay for this. However, we have about 850 users that are connected, so that's $212,000 if we were to pay for all that. So it might be just food for thought for the council to discuss how you'd like to take care of that cost. Our ordinance was just saying that we have to have laterals done. There wasn't anything that said we're paying for it, or if we're having property owners paying for it, or if we're sharing that cost. So I just wanted to bring that up, so you're aware of it, and we could have discussion maybe in another meeting and make a decision.
Have any examples of what other communities have done?
Not off the top of my head.
We will make note and bring it up at the next meeting. Give us some time to think about that.
Thank you.
If there's nothing else, we will move forward.
Mr. Mayor,
Yes.
I would like to speak when we get to the unfinished business on that snow removal ordinance. Again, after hearing from the council and mayor.
Okay, then we will start with what's on the agenda here. Laban's Lakeview Drive. At the last meeting, we had discussed that we were going to have Darren look at taking care of the frost heaves and additional gravel to crown that road. Also, there was a discussion about drainage of ditch areas. And I think he'll be looking into that, but being new to this job, I missed one step. And we have the feasibility study still out there. So we have to take care of that before we can go ahead and approve the fixing of the frost boils. So can I have a motion to deny that feasibility study to move ahead with this other?
So moved.
Second.
Motion is made and seconded to deny the feasibility study for Leyland's Lakeview Drive and order cost estimates for fixing the frost boils, additional gravel, and looking into the drainage of the ditch areas. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries.
So can I do any discussion right now, or is it closed as far as asking comments about it? Or should I have said that before? I was confused until he said that, and I go, whoops.
That's okay, Paula. We'll let you know.
Okay, because sorry if I don't.
That's fine.
Okay, because at the last meeting, and Tim's not here, so I couldn't ask him. But, he said he was going to talk to Punky about doing, checking on the frost, Wild's frost heaves or whatever. And I just know that as the summers go on, and if they're not on people's schedules, you know, it's gonna get set back again, so, and I don't know if, but I know that's what he said, he was gonna talk to Punky, so if he does not, and then Punky's schedule gets busy, are we gonna go through another summer again where these things aren't done? You know, and that's what
I will get a hold of Darren
okay,
and talk to him.
and I know, Doug Walter stopped in my office today saying that Tim was also gonna call him and get the number of, for doing the drainage things. And Doug said he hadn't called him yet, so that was another thing I wanted to bring up to see if that was done. And like I said, I'm only concerned is because the summers go by fast and you only have so much time to do things.
Do you have Doug's number?
I can get it by, for you after. the
Is
meeting.
this something that Tim could contact him, or is this something that
Darren
Darren might
can
be a
help,
good
yes.
one?
Yeah.
Okay,
Okay, and then as I heard Troy talking, with 8th Avenue and Levine, I had originally got estimates from Greg with Riley's, and he was talking about getting Riley's now. Can 8th Avenue get paved by Riley's or not? Because the thing I brought up, I went to the Gordon Township, and Gordon will pay a percentage of that paving to get that 8th Avenue done, so to me, that's a very positive thing, so I just wanna keep that as an issue brought up in the meetings, because if we have someone that's gonna give a percentage to the road to get done, I think that's a very positive thing. So I was just wondering, can that be at least noted?
so
You
the
know?
only concern that I would have is I know part of this feasibility schedule was water and sewer.
But it
Because
was
once
brought
it
up at the
is-
last meeting that that was highly, what, I don't know what the word is, unfeasible, because of how it would have to come across from the golf course and over, and for the size of this, how many landowners there are, it wouldn't be feasible. So
And
that was brought up,
That was
And
just
so-
more, I wanna make sure we have clarification.
and so that was brought up, and if, you know, then he said it was not, you know, feasible, it shouldn't be done because of the amount of the residents in that area. And like with at least 8th Avenue, they said very little work would have to be done to that to get it paved. So that part, I know it's all connected, you know, with Lily Bean, where Levine has to do a lot more work, because if any of you have driven down there in the last couple of weeks, you would know, as far as the rain, snow type thing. So I just wanna make note that hopefully things are gonna get done at least this summer as far as at least the maintenance of Levine Drive, Lakeview Drive and that, so just wanna make my notes on that. And because I'm gonna be here at the meeting and see.
But yeah, if you can give me Doug's number, and I'll have Darren contact him.
Okay.
And do we
Because
maybe
Darren-
just have him have Darren touch base with Punky as well?
Yeah, I'll,
Might be nice just to
Yeah.
kind of have him
Yeah, I
work
will-
with that as well,
I
as
will
much
get
as.
hold of Darren tomorrow and have him, start looking into that
Thank you.
to make things get rolling. Yes.
Just to be clear, we're talking about ravines and we're talking about 8th, and although they run together, 8th is the first part, and the loop, which is really horrible, is
That's
Levine's.
Right.
where it needs more maintenance.
Right, and just also be clear, you threw out that $3.7 million, that was what you just.
That's what we just
eliminated.
denied, yes.
Just for, they're on that one.
Yes.
Yep. Thank you.
Judy, can I add to that? I did talk to Darren today.
Okay.
He had said that right now, there's not all the roads have frost boils in them or have come out yet. So right now, he wasn't seeing anything evidence over there that he would look at replacing, but he feels like we're gonna have to wait a few more weeks to see if any frost boils come up, because they sometimes are better one year and not others, so we have to see. And then he said they would look into digging them out, and he said he can do gravel, and he could get a price for the council on what it would take to gravel, maybe get more of a crown on there. But the drainage thing's gonna be probably more of an issue, because there's not any ditches out there to drain this water too. And so they tend to stay in the roadway, even if you get this little bit of crown, there's still water that runs along the side of it. And I did talk to him about that, boring of the line and putting something in, but, he had more comments, which I feel like it's gonna have to have a little bit more discussion with the council, because being as a gravel road, you have catch basins to drain this, then the gravel goes in there, kind of plugs that up. So there has to be something where it can maybe be ditched more to flow, and it's difficult because you don't have the space to do it, or you have RVIG and you have electrical that's in there to try to ditch it, so that might be the issue, even if you do put this gravel on there, that's gonna still have this wet on the side of roads as it rains, because it doesn't have a place for it to run.
Well, there are ditches on a good portion of the road, of Levine's. Part of the issue is that the culverts need to be blown out, and they used to blow them out periodically. But they haven't done that for a long time. And that's, I looked across at the property that we have across the road, and at Paterka's, and we had a lot of water sitting on our property because the culverts are plugged. And like I said, they used to blow them out every so often, that hasn't been done in a very long time. And there are ditches on a good portion of the road down there.
So may I also ask, is it something that we need to look at the size of your culverts and potentially put in larger ones if they are plugging?
They are, most of them are about like this. They're the ones that basically go under the driveways and then go back into the ditch and then go and they drain into, I don't know the name of the swamp back there.
Yeah, not like Stevens, but the one over there, and I did physically look at the one culvert that goes under there, and it needs to definitely be cleaned, and that one goes from the side of their property, or which is where the field that they take care of, and it goes to an empty lot. I have met the owners of that, but they're not there because it's empty, yeah,
It
so they're not
also-
there, they just mow in the summer.
It also drains through, you can tell Pease a lot too.
So may I ask, Angela, do you know, is that something that the city maintains, those type of culverts?
They used to.
Well, I did mention it to Darren about the concern that was brought up with it not draining or being too low, so water sat there and stuff, and he said the one was draining, he said he'd have to look at that for another one, but they do have a jetter.
Okay.
So I think that they would or could probably go through, and if it needs to be cleaned out, clean it out, if that's the case.
Oh,
We were talking with
yeah,
him, we
I've got
can
it, yeah.
maybe putting a bug in
Yep.
this year, that would be nice. Would that be all right with you guys? We'll have him come out, take a look, and maybe even cleaning them out if that will help
Well,
mitigate some of it.
It might, because there's a couple of spots too where the ditches would be good, but they're high and just maybe for 3 feet. And you could dig that part down pretty simply and improve your drainage by doing that. And now that's not a real path, but that's a quick fix for this spring, and that's temporary, that's not what we want in the long run. But it would certainly help for a little while.
And as Doug mentioned at the last meeting when his son did the boring, that, even though it was discussed here, the boring doesn't have to be very deep, and they can go, and you don't have to do much of the land disturbing.
Well, I was gonna say, that's why if I could get Doug's
Right.
number, so
And so it's a
Aaron
very-
could talk directly to
Right,
him.
it's a very positive thing without actually doing much physical damage, if you wanna say, it can all be done under.
So if I can also ask, the only question that I had regarding that is, who covers the cost of that? Is that the property owner having to bore through their property to get it
It
out?
would be on the edge
or-
of the road, actually. Because
Okay,
where
so
the
we're not
water
going
runs
towards
off,
the
yes, and then it can
run it farther?
take it and forward it to, the path up going to the actual drainage part of these ditches.
The city is responsible for so many feet out from the center of the road. And the ditch area that we're talking about is within that limit.
Okay, that was the only really question that I had from the last meeting is, because it sounded more like, because he was talking about, yep, he can have it bored, he can have it pop up right in your basement, I'm like,
Well, he's.
so we're gonna have.
He was trying to say how
How
precise.
accurate, yes,
That's what he was trying to say.
totally got that,
It's
but I-
not gonna be up as much.
So right this past his house, down the creek.
You know, he was just saying how precise and how much it didn't disturb the land, how it would
Perfect.
just be, routed in there and not even much disturbance, but very accurate.
Beautiful, and I think Darren may be a great resource for you guys to touch base with, and definitely appreciate talking with you guys, and I don't know if it's something maybe we need, I don't know if we wanna do it at a workshop and just discuss as the project goes.
Well, I would really like to see a workshop sometime in the week. But I'm starting to get lots of things added to that workshop. Might be an 8-hour workshop.
I love it.
But yeah, we could, like I say, I'll start with Darren, make sure that he's got somebody scheduled to come out and look at the frost boils. I'll talk to him about the culverts. Like I say, if I could get Doug's number, so I could have him talk directly to Doug about this boring. The 8th Avenue part, if it's okay with you, I'd like to put it to the full council. That'll give us a couple weeks to think about it here also, because I guess we did not really discuss that.
Right,
part.
I just didn't want
So-
to get that part, and like I said, since we're gonna have funds coming, that, I was actually at the board meeting, and they definitely agreed to pay for a portion, and they actually own from the lanes, from the one driveway clear to the turn of where it turns into, so it would be, a good part of it, of 8th Avenue only. So,
Exactly, where's the Gordon Township Board of Health?
It starts at Lanes,
Okay,
right after the farm. I don't know if you guys are familiar with people who live there, but, and it starts from the lanes and goes clear. So, right now, that's about, 4/10 of a mile, I think. And then, so maybe like 2/10 of it would be, where Gordon Township owns on this opposite side of our driveway. There, so 1, 2, 3, 4 landowners own that side, so.
so you're talking about Preacher and Fox.
Yes, and Bonnie and the Lanes. So it is a good portion, so I don't hate to throw with that money if they're happy to donate, so.
Okay, yes, we'll, like I say, I'll talk to Darren tomorrow, and we'll get started on the first part. Let's get the road fixed. Okay. Pike Street projects, another processes.
I would like to table this as well. I really would like to talk with the WSB guy about the grant that was applied for that really didn't apply for us. So, and just kind of pick his brain a little bit the next time he's here. And just see, if there is something for us to actually look at, or if it's really not something that we should be doing right now.
Okay, so we'll just table this till the next meeting then?
Sounds like fun to me.
No removal ordinance. I would like to, Mr. Larson, if you want to comment on this before I get into my spiel here, that would be fine.
No, I'll let you guys, I just found this tonight on the city website. So I'll let you guys speak to what you're speaking about, and then
Well, I would like
we'll
to
go from there.
I would like to propose, I know that we're gonna have to be looking at the snow ordinance. I would like to propose that we set up a committee to look at this, the snow ordinance. I'm looking at, just like Angela has noted here, Chad, Darren, Angela, myself, and probably Tim, being he's the water liaison, to form a committee, look into information on this, to bring it back to the council. Probably July, maybe first part of August, something that we could look at before winter. That's all I'm gonna do with it right now, so.
By chance, did you hear why this was presented to us?
No, I haven't heard it.
So truly why it was presented to us is because the school has a group of kids that walk up to the grocery store and do stocking and learn about how a business runs. And on their way up there, they would have to walk in the road because the sidewalks were not shoveled accordingly for them to walk. And some were special needs and needed to have wheelchairs to take them up there. So that is why it was presented to us, to really look at our ordinances, to see if that is something that we can encourage more safe routes around town, especially for that particular route that they were walking. I wanna say, is this second,
No,
first?
Central Avenue.
Central, so sorry, I'm way off. So they would actually come from the school, walk down Central, and then walk right down to the grocery store. And that's really where it was presented to us, as to look at this ordinance and see if we can encourage some of those sidewalks to be cleaner and safer for our kids. It also went with not necessarily just snow, but this time it was presented to us in the spring where we were having nice days, snow melts, gets cold at night, and then we have ice. So that was also another part of that struggle, where that part we can't really help with, unfortunately, because that's just this time of year. So truly, that is how everything was presented to us, and that's why we have had it on our schedule.
Okay, but I mean, I see you're looking at Melrose, Albany. So to go back in history here, this was pushed years ago by Chad to have Lake Street and Main Street, like from the Locker Plant area up that way, all cleared off. I started a petition then, and I still have all the signatures at home, all the paperwork. The majority of people were not for cleaning those sidewalks down there. It's a nightmare. The equipment you gotta have. That being said, our city is cleaning the sidewalks up here in the business area, basically taking the bulk away. But not affording that same luxury to anybody else with a sidewalk in town. The majority of the sidewalks in this town are only on county roads. We're at less than a third of the miles of our sidewalks of our streets in town have a sidewalk. So these were things that were brought up at that time, when we were talking about safety and things like that. And I said, we are so good at predicting where accidents happen. They only happen on streets with a sidewalk that isn't shoveled. They'll never happen on a city street that doesn't have a sidewalk. So until we have sidewalks everywhere, we did a new development 20 years ago. We never put a sidewalk in there. Why? Because people don't want to pay for it. And when you start having to move, and the highway here has been a big point of contention with snow removal for a long time. But it's not fair to any other taxpayer in the city of Wasakus for the business area to get their snow removed at no cost.
I pay,
How do you pay?
I pay John Backus
Okay, but the city also sweeps up there with their plows.
barely,
They come with skid loaders.
barely.
Well,
I clean mine all the
they're still
time,
doing
and
it.
John comes over several times throughout the day. But there's a lot of businesses that aren't cleaning at all.
Right, but it's gone on for decades and decades and decades of the city offering free service.
It pays
In
for
place.
their taxes less.
Pardon me?
They have a higher tax base.
That's beside the point.
No, that's what the taxes are for, that's why they're higher.
No. I think if you dig into the Constitution of the United States, there's stipulations in there about government giving free services. And this was brought up to me by an administrative law judge a few years back. But I'm just saying, don't let this thing get out of hand again. I mean, you got over a third of the people in town that are probably social security age. They're 60 and older, according to the census. You know, and depends what you're looking at.
Well, thank you for all that information.
And I was gonna say, because we really don't know what we're looking at.
Well, I mean, technically, we do have an ordinance right now that says
Yes.
everybody must clean it.
Yes.
It's not enforced, and I'm thankful for that, because when the snow and ice is this deep in front of my house, how am I gonna move it?
Yeah. Like I say, these are all questions we're gonna have to try and answer.
Yeah.
You know, where it's gonna lead, I don't know, but I know that we have concern about, especially downtown. You're right.
Yeah.
But we have to make sure that our kids are safe.
Yeah.
We have to make sure that the people walking to Tanya's store, to the general store, to the grocery store, that those sidewalks are kept clean too. So, you know, how we're gonna approach it yet, we have no clue. I'm the one who wanted, because I'm the newbie, I'm the one who wanted the information from other towns. What are other towns doing? I'm trying to gather information. That's why it's my recommendation for us to go to committee. You know,
Would you ask Alexandria what they charge each business per month, year-round, for maintenance of those sidewalks? Snow removal, sweeping?
I would expect that it gets done then, because I do pay a decent amount of money for snow removal, and I shovel myself, and I put salt out myself. But I can tell you, between AJ's and my building, never gets done. And Bruns never gets done. There's a path, literally from the street,
yeah,
a path shoveled, one path.
I was gonna say, I know, even though I mean,
Yeah, along yours, yeah, that apartment building
Yeah.
next door, never getting
Yeah.
shoveled. Out here in front of Ladonna's, never getting shoveled.
So the city guys do run a skid loader down those sidewalks.
you know what, honestly,
I guess I've
Okay.
seen it.
and now I'm just looking, I don't know what happens on Central, okay? On Main, they never did.
Yeah.
That was John back, John did in front of Hensley's too. On Main, it was
Okay, him to
always
do that.
John.
Well, I mean, I know
Yeah.
part of it, cause I watched them do it.
Yeah.
Many times.
I was gonna say, and
Um,
you could be right,
and
both
it's
sides.
been,
I
I
saw
mean, they
that.
used to come up with a pickup and do it before they had a skid loader. We used to have a sweeper for the front of the skid loader. Did that get sold, Angela, or
Well, they still have it.
it's still there? You know,
Maybe it has to be so much snow before they do it.
Well, I think they do part of the sidewalk like Lars says, but they're not out there when there's this dusting or, you know, half an inch.
Right.
They're not plowing snow, so they're not out there cleaning the sidewalk. So it's still on the property owner then to clean it. It's not necessarily they're gonna come every time there's a little bit of snow downtown.
I
It's
just
still
think
up.
it was my responsibility.
We're getting the majority of it.
So,
One that's
and yes, even the current ordinance we have is, you know, it says within 72 hours. Well, there's no way that downtown can wait 72 hours after a snowfall to clean, you know? So the ordinance has to be addressed no matter what we do, you know? Cause it's just, it's not good.
I just don't wanna see it metamorphose into this thing where we're doing this because of safety, but the majority of our streets don't even have the safety device there to be cleaned. And if we're gonna take it to that extent, then I'd like to see tickets issued for all the people that don't use the sidewalk and walk right down the street. Move to Lake Street, I mean, in the summer, they don't walk down the sidewalk, it's crazy. I don't get it. why they would be that way. But, you know, until we have sidewalks in place in all places to say that, you know, I get what you're talking about here. I see those young people at the grocery store and, I'm a one meal at a time shopper. So I usually, usually every day I'd go in, this is what we're having for supper. I'm not a stockpiler other than venison, but you gotta take care of it. No, but, you know, yeah, I get what you're saying about safety there, but we have way more streets without a sidewalk than with. Very few city streets, Pike Street by you, Stephanie.
Mhm.
I think it ends on your corner.
Yep, sure does.
Oak Street
Mhm.
from Second Avenue to First Avenue West.
I don't think Clean has sidewalks.
No, nothing does
No,
because
it's very select.
Because people do not want to pay for it. It's been talked about for 25 years.
Well, and honestly, our neighbors, I can't complain, they are absolutely fabulous. Whoever gets out there first in the morning, takes their plow and goes the entire block. They just start at their house, they plow one way, they finish their driveway, they plow the other way, and we all just take turns. And I could not honestly ask for better neighbors, but that's my neighborhood compared to other neighborhoods.
Well, and part of it can be the demographics of where you live on the snow load you get.
Exactly, so we have the boulevard where a lot of places don't, like especially right out here, I know Al Larson was very concerned with the sidewalks out here because they got the half a road worth of snow where we don't get that much on ours.
And we have a
So-
boulevard on Lake Street,
Mm-hmm,
but the snow load coming off that lake,
absolutely.
it's going somewhere. And it doesn't all fit on the boulevard,
Mhm.
unfortunately.
Absolutely, absolutely.
But I just,
We appreciate it.
yeah, and if you want data, I got it saved.
Wonderful. Here's your resource.
He and I have discussed this at.
I know, that's so.
But thank you and
No problem. Like I say, we'll be presenting it, hopefully we'll present it to council probably in July.
And some of these were really neat to read.
If you watch the website, the agendas, when it comes back up after the committee gets together.
well, maybe the committee should include people that actually have sidewalks, not people that don't have sidewalks. People that live in the city of Osakis that pay taxes in the city of Osakis versus, I mean, and it's nothing against the employees, but the first three listed, they don't live here. It doesn't directly affect them.
And maybe the first meeting of the committee, we will discuss that. What is the best way to let people know about it? As far as, if I were gonna tell you, okay, I'm gonna open this up, I wanna have a workshop, I want the public to come in, all we're talking about is snow ordinance. What is my best route to inform my public?
Post it as usual.
What's that?
Post it as usual. It's up to them to pay attention to what's going on in town.
How would she make people aware of this meeting coming up,
Or
or the workshop?
Or do you throw something in the paper?
Paper or the anchor?
'Cause I feel like
or
it's,
door to door in those neighborhoods that actually have a sidewalk.
Flyer? City website?
Because not everybody's on
Hey, I was gonna say,
computers,
that's,
so you have X amount that.
yeah. We will discuss all possibilities.
I just ran into it because I was gonna actually just watch the meeting tonight, and then it wasn't coming up, so I clicking through and I go, well, here's the agenda.
Look at that, you got a front.
What's this old
Nice.
dog and who woke it up?
But yes, we will be discussing that more, and like I say, I'll talk to the committee and maybe we will have a workshop. We'll just discuss it and see where we go with it. And, I'll use your suggestions as far as contacting people and we'll go from there. Do I need to make a motion to send it to me?
I think it would be best to get a recommendation from the council.
I will make a motion to set up a snow removal ordinance committee consisting of Chad Gilbertson, Darren Christor, Angela Jacobson, Tim Thornbloom, and Mayor Judy DeVorse.
Motion has been made and seconded to set up a committee for snow removal ordinance, with Chad Gilbertson, Darren Christor, Angela Jacobson, Tim Thornbloom, and Mayor Judy DeVorse. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Okay, cleanup day is coming up on May 17th.
I lied, I'm not gonna be able to make it. And look at it. Another, something else going on.
Okay, well, I will be there.
Don't have weekends.
Do we need more than me?
We have lots of volunteers, so.
Okay, because the Lions, I see, are gonna help. Yes,
That
yes.
sentence is served.
Yep. Sounds good. Then we'll
They should be lined up.
we'll let you get off.
I'll be out of town.
Question here, if the council wants all the fees the same for residents of Lake Osakis, residents of Osakis and Lake Association members.
Personally, I feel it should be the same. I don't think it's fair to charge a different rate.
Well, as I say, it could get confusing too if we're gonna have two different rates.
And especially for a one-year trial to see how everything goes, see what type of participation we get with it.
Because they said they would be there to help also, correct?
Yeah, the two guys were here anyway, I don't know if he's here. They for sure will be.
I would say for the first year, like I say, like Steph says, trial year, we're gonna, could be kind of confusing if we try to mix it up.
Yeah.
Does that bill get paid out of the fees that are charged that day? Or those fees go over to fireworks and that bill for that day get paid out of,
It's
Tax.
subtracted from the total and what's
Okay.
left goes to
of what you take in?
Okay.
Are you staying?
Yeah, do we want a motion on that? I think we
Sure.
probably should.
I will make a motion, oh, go ahead. Okay, I will make a motion to approve the Lake Association members who are going to participate in our cleanup day to be charged the same fees as everyone located in the city of Osakis.
I'll second that.
Motion has been made and seconded for fees for cleanup day for the Lake Association members to be the same as the residents of the city of Osakis. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Lifeguards at the beach.
So Angela, you had mentioned that typically it is 11 to 7. Is that 7 days a week that we have them?
Yeah,
And then I want to say Randy had asked about how often we have people out there. They kind of did a survey with how many people, were there days that were quieter than others? Where you would see that we could maybe cut back some hours, or is it something that just in general we may have to?
I know I looked at it last fall when I have it, but I don't have it in front of me now, I just remember it being, the beginning of June was not very busy until you get to the end of June. July is busier, and beginning of August, and after that it kind of slows off. I don't know if it's a day of a week more than what the weather's like.
There's a lot of rain days.
Yeah, we did. So, of course, if it's rain days, they don't work, they're off, but you know, we talked about some different options, like starting at 2 instead of 11, just doing the afternoon shift. Or doing that like Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, or Darren even mentioned, well, what about they're there during the day and at night? Parents would be there with the kids, so then we wouldn't have the lifeguards, but kind of the reason for wanting to do this is Amber's put a lot of work into having the beach nice, so part of it is having the slide out and having that active, which needs somebody to make sure that that pump works for the water to run on it. So that would be the only thing that would happen if they're not there, that's not gonna run. I mean, they have the dock out, but it won't have the water running on the slide, but if that's not a big deal, then maybe it's fine to give it a try that way. So my thought is maybe we don't have to have it starting at 11, maybe 2 o'clock in the afternoon is good enough and shorten some of the hours. Right now I have the two lifeguards on that are coming back. I haven't had any other applications. I did have one gal pick up. But that's all I have right now. So if we only have 2, it's gonna be minimal coverage.
And are you thinking still do like the 2 to 7 or 2 to 8 and do like a 6-hour?
Probably till 7. I think after that it gets to be
Too cool?
cool.
Okay.
And will the lifeguards be alright, we won't lose them because you're not getting enough hours or anything like that?
Well, I think if you only have 2 or 3, they're still gonna get just as many hours as they did last year because there's not enough hours to go, are there? They have their own lives, they do things, you know, so they're wanting to fill in and do this. It's not like they want, all of them aren't wanting a full-time job, yes.
Just,
Yeah.
So would this 2 to 7 be more during the week, and the weekends, would you see longer shifts or stick with the 2 to 7?
I think you could do longer on the weekends, 11 to 7. And I did pencil it out with my suggestion of less than 4 hours, it would save about $2,300, and then I had budgeted on there, what I have, $6,000, and we only spent 47 last year, so if you subtract that difference, you're at $3,500 that you come up with if you wanted to use that towards this lawn mowing individual.
So then we also need to talk about the visitor center.
In the visitor center. Visitor center, we can throw that in there too, is, cost of staffing was about $4,000 last year. I had in the budget donations of about $2,000 to make that goal. So if we wanna keep the visitor center open, and they were 10 to 2 is the hours that they did, or 10 to 3. And if we wanna utilize them all summer, I think we need to have the donations, otherwise what we've done in the past is I let them work until we don't have any money left in what we've used for a budget, and then they're done.
Okay.
Or I reduce hours.
The Heritage Group is waiting for the letter, they were expecting a letter, they're ready to donate.
Oh, very nice.
Well, they have every year, they were surprised they didn't get the letter, was what my first meeting was, that's what they said.
We didn't get
Where's the
one
letter,
last
when are we gonna,
year.
when are we gonna open the also?
Well, usually we don't send it till after I ask you guys if you wanna do it.
Okay.
But last year I sent it, and Tanya said she didn't get it, we sent it to the chamber and to, the Heritage Center.
Okay.
And we do ask the gambling organizations, but last year we didn't get anything from the gambling groups.
Get added to your list.
I
And we
could
can
sure-
use lodging tax too.
Yes, yeah, that was the other thing
We have
we could use, yep.
There was a request from the Heritage Group that maybe we could open it on the weekends, fishing opener, don't know how much that adds to our, I don't know if the workers are paying for that. That was a request. They say they start seeing a lot of pedestrian traffic after fishing opener.
On a, like Saturday, Sunday,
Yeah.
you're saying?
I guess, I didn't get specific with it.
Well, I do know that if we hire the 2 that are here, they both would be able to do it if that's what the council wants.
Same as last year.
Yeah.
And when do we have to start staffing somebody here then?
But typically it's after Memorial Day and what Randy just asked us fishing over just that weekend, so, I could send out letters requesting for funds and see what we get by the time we have to open it up. And we do have money, like I said, budgeted, so if we run out, then we're done, if we don't get donations, or Randy mentioned the lodging tax thing, we could ask the EDA about that also. To make a difference.
That sounds like a nice game plan.
Okay, so we want to make motions to approve the two hires that Anna has.
Are we on visitor center?
Right now we are, do we need to?
Okay. I will make a motion to request a dollar increase raise to the 2 employees that we currently have at the visitor center for this upcoming 2025 summer season.
I'll second that.
Motion is been made and seconded to approve a dollar increase for Anna and Jackie to the visitor center for the year 2025. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries.
I will also make a motion to approve requesting funds for staffing at the visitor center this upcoming summer of 2025.
And I'll second that.
Motion has been made and seconded to approve or to request funds for staffing at the visitor center for 2025. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries.
I also make a motion to, are they for sure coming back, Sarah, Connor, and Aaron? Or we just?
Yeah,
we
they
just
for sure
Motioning the
said
president.
listen, yes.
And giving them $15 for the lifeguard and $16 for lead. Is that current?
That's correct. So
we
you
want
would
to get-
add a
so we're getting
dollar.
a dollar on top of that.
Yep,
So it'll be $16 for lifeguard and $17 for lead lifeguard. Lost my train of thought.
lifeguard 16 and head lifeguard 17.
Yes.
Do we need in this motion, do we?
Oh, and change hours.
Thank you. We need to adjust the hours.
2 to 7 during the week and 11 to 7 on weekends.
I will second that.
Motion has been made and seconded for rehire Connor Goldbergson and Aaron Collins for the 2025 season as lifeguards. Returning lifeguard at $16 and head lifeguard at $17. And revamped hours Monday through Friday, 2 to 7, and weekend 11 to 7. All in favor say aye. Opposed, same sign. Motion carries.
Just so I can follow up, what did we decide on the early opening of the visitor center?
I think we should do opening fishing.
I make a motion to open the visitor center on the weekend of fishing opener to be available for clients downtown.
I'll second that.
Motion has been made and seconded to have visitor center open on the fishing opener for 2025. All in favor say aye. Opposed, same sign. Motion carries.
Now, do we also need to touch back to Darren Fiedler regarding summer lawn mowing if we are making these adjustments?
Yes, you do. You need to decide what you want to do with that.
Is there a reason why we didn't budget for him mowing?
Well, discussion was we were hiring a 4th individual.
That's what it was. Okay.
And we were gonna have that person mow. Darren feels like we need to have a mower and he didn't want him sitting on the mower all summer. So that's why he's asking to have a lawnmower. This would be, I think he usually had them start in May and he worked through September. So it is longer because he is a retired guy, so he's not worried about, school and getting out of school and that, but, the 5,900 is for that whole time is what he worked last year, was for that. May all the way into September, end of September.
I'd like to say too, we budgeted $6,000 for the lifeguard, now with cutting the hours, we're gonna save some money there, correct?
Yeah, so I figured about $3,500, maybe a little bit more with your hours. Mhm. Mhm. About 6,000 is what it's gonna cost for this. If you go with a full-time.
Would we need him full-time? Or would the other guys be picking up mowing at all, or are they busy with projects that are already allocated?
I think last year when he was here, they did mow sometimes too, cause they have the 2 mowers, so. When you have the weeks when it's a lot of rain and then it's sunny and that, sometimes you need to have 2 on there. So, I don't think he's the only one that mows, even when he is here.
Okay.
And maybe we'll have to discuss with Darren that he can hire him, but we'll have to watch the dollars and cents. As it comes down to a can't go over budget, that it may not be for the entire season.
We need to touch base with Jared first,
I can do that when I talk to him tomorrow.
and then we can just readdress this next meeting. So that'll be right about the time we would have him be hired.
You can go visit him tomorrow.
That's the Lake Association renting the visitor center yet?
And just a note on the welcome to Osaka sign, which you touched on briefly.
I'll follow up with that again.
Okay,
Thank you.
thank you. We have received some donations, for the Osakas First Responders, Police Department, and Osakas Beautification Team. We have a resolution to accept those, or to approve those donations.
I'll make a motion to approve the donations given to the first responders, the beautification team, and the police department.
Motion has been made and seconded to approve resolution 2025-09 to approve donations to the city of Osakas for the purposes of the first responders, equipment supplies training, and beautification team, park equipment and improvements, and police department tasers. All in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed, same sign. Resolution carries. The Chamber of Commerce has submitted special event applications for several different things. Taking care of things in all one fell swoop.
I just wanna make sure, fireworks are only at the holiday parade, correct?
By the chamber, yes.
Yes, thank you. Cause the picture, it's all the same picture throughout them and they have a fireworks spot. I'm like, I feel like it's not always that.
What do you mean, what picture? Oh, gotcha, yeah.
That was just the map.
Yeah.
That's okay. So I'm like, I don't think we're doing fireworks for all of these events, but you never know.
Yeah, we have applications for the Osakas Parade, Osakas Days Parade, Culpeper Circus, oh my goodness, on July 22nd. Halloween Trunk and Treat, October 31st, and Holiday Lake Parade on December 5th.
May we make a motion for all of them or do we need to do separate
Yes.
motions?
Do it all.
I'll make a motion to approve the special event applications for the Osakas Days Parade, June 22nd, the Culpeper Circus, July 22nd, the Halloween trunk or treat, October 31st, and the holiday light parade at December 5th.
I'll second that.
Motion has been made and seconded to approve special events for Osaka Chamber of Commerce, Osaka Street Parade, January 22nd, Culpeper Circus, July 22nd, Halloween Trunk and Treat, October 31st, and Holiday Light Parade, December 5th. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Just a note, gambling, I would like to schedule the gambling meeting for May 19th. Would you prefer to do 5:30 or 6 o'clock? That is the third Monday in May.
Fine at 5:30. Just,
It's after 3, I'm good.
Okay, then we'll schedule it for 5:30.
Okay. We'll let everybody know.
Thank you very much. Knights of Columbus and the Immaculate Conception Church are requesting approval for a raffle to be held on September 28th, to be held at the Immaculate Conception Church. And they have, I'm gonna interrupt you.
I'll make a motion to approve the Knights of Columbus raffle on September 28th, 2025.
I'll second that.
Motion has been made and seconded to pass resolution 25-12 to approve Knights of Columbus raffle on September 28th, 2025. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Minnesota Housing, Minnesota City Participation Program. We are enrolled in the Minnesota Housing Program. We enrolled in January. Angela has received an updated report. The city already met the required match for 2025. So we've loaned out a total of $164,000. And great news, because that will make us eligible again for 2026.
Wonderful.
And is there anything else anybody would like to bring forward? Angela, anything else?
I don't believe so.
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
I'll second.
Motion has been made and seconded to adjourn meeting. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Meeting is adjourned.
And here's your exciting